Okay, I want you to picture something. There's a young guy. He's in his luxury penthouse. He's got the designer clothes, the fancy sports car, millions in the bank. I mean, he has literally everything society tells us is supposed to make us happy. So why does he feel so completely empty and lost? Well, that man was Stephen Bartlett, the founder of Social Chain, one of the young CEOs of a publicly traded company in Europe. And his book, Happy, Sexy Millionaire, isn't your typical how to succeed guide. Now, it's more like a confession. He went out and achieved everything he thought he wanted, only to realize it was all based on a total misunderstanding of how fulfillment actually works. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the 3 biggest lies we are all sold about success, love, and happiness. So first up, the happiness delusion. This is that idea that achievements, possessions, external validation, that's what will lead to lasting joy. But as Bartlett found out the hard way, this is a trap. And the reason this trap even exists is because of a psychological concept called the hedonic treadmill. It's actually an evolutionary feature. It's like our brain's default setting to keep us striving for more. We get a promotion, we buy a new gadget, we hit a goal, and yeah, we feel a spike of happiness. But then, very quickly, we just go right back to our baseline. It's what kept our ancestors hunting. But today, it's what keeps us feeling perpetually dissatisfied. And this slide just perfectly shows how that treadmill plays out in real life. Bartlett tells this story about finally buying his dream car. On day 1, you see that peak excitement, right? Pure joy. But by day 3, the novelty has already completely vanished. And by day 4, it was just a car. The magic? Gone. And that treadmill just kicked right back in. And you know what's a major accelerator for this treadmill? Social media. An empire that Bartlett himself actually helped build. It is engineered to make you feel inadequate. You're sitting there comparing your messy, real, behind-the-scenes life to everyone else's perfectly curated highlight reel. It's an unwinnable game that's just designed to keep you scrolling and feeling like you're not enough. Okay, so if more stuff doesn't make us happy, what about more money? Well, the research on this is surprisingly clear. The link between how much you earn and your day-to-day happiness, it's really strong up until about this number, $75,000 a year. That's the point where your basic needs are pretty much met. And after that, the correlation almost completely disappears. I mean, someone making $1 million a year is not likely to be any happier day-to-day than someone making 80 grand. So if achievements and money are kind of a delusion, then what about our relationships? Well, this brings us to lie number 2, the love delusion. Bartlett calls it the dangerous Disney fairy tale. You know the one. The idea that there's one perfect person out there who is going to complete you. And this fairy tale leads us to ask this one single question over and over and over again in our relationships. We're constantly evaluating, constantly wondering, is this person the one? But here's the twist. Bartlett argues that it's completely the wrong question to be asking. The whole point is, the focus should be internal. The real question is, am I being the right person? Am I bringing my best self to this partnership? And this slide just brilliantly breaks down the difference between what we often think is love and what it actually is. On the left, you've got limerence. That's the initial, intense, chemical feeling. It's passionate, it's all-consuming, and it typically fades in about 12 to 18 months. But on the right, you have real love, and it isn't a temporary feeling. It's a conscious choice, a commitment you make every single day, built on friendship and respect, especially for when those fleeting feelings come and go. So, what's the single most important secret here? It's wholeness first. If you're out there looking for a relationship to fix your insecurities or to make you happy, it's just going to amplify those issues. The real goal is to build a life that you love, all on your own. Then, a relationship becomes a joyful addition, not some desperate need. And this brings us to our third and final lie, the success delusion. This is that toxic myth of hustle culture, that belief that constant work and sacrifice is the only path to a life that's actually worthwhile. Bartlett calls this the sacrifice fallacy. We glorify the entrepreneur who sleeps 3 hours a night and just sacrifices everything on the altar of success. Bartlett did this himself. He worked 16-hour days and burned out completely. He achieved his goals, sure, but the success felt totally hollow because he destroyed everything that actually creates fulfillment along the way. So how do you succeed without burning out? Well, here's a pretty controversial idea. Stop relying on discipline. As this slide shows, discipline is finite. It's unreliable. It requires constant willpower, and it's the very first thing to fail when you're under stress. Instead, build systems. Systems are reliable and they work automatically. They're designed to remove friction, making good behaviors easy and bad ones hard. Like, don't use discipline to avoid junk food. Just don't keep it in the house in the first place. That's a system. And the antidote to that whole comparison catastrophe that social media fuels? Simple. Change your reference point. Stop looking sideways at what everyone else is doing. The only person you should be competing with is the person you were yesterday. Am I a little kinder today? A little wiser? A little healthier? That is the only game worth winning. So, we've deconstructed all the lies. Now what? Well, now let's build the new blueprint. What does a genuinely fulfilling life actually look like, and how do we even begin to build it? Bartlett offers a really simple but powerful framework he calls the 5 buckets. Think of your life as having these 5 key areas: health, relationships, purpose, learning, and play. See, most of us, we hyper-focus on just one bucket, usually purpose or work, while we let the others run completely empty. And then we wonder why we feel so hollow. The key is to consciously check in and make sure you're regularly putting something into all 5. And here are some of those high-impact habits that'll help you fill those buckets. Notice the theme here. It's not about managing time, it's about managing energy. It's about auditing who you spend your time with. Do they drain you or do they energize you? It's about actively investing in your own mental and emotional growth. These are the real levers of a fulfilled life. Okay, so what can you do like right now? It starts small. First, know what you actually value. Second, build one simple system. Third, identify the people who lift you up. And fourth, tonight just write down 3 things you're grateful for. These aren't huge, earth-shattering changes, but they are the foundation. And this brings us to the book's ultimate inversion, the core idea that turns our entire societal script completely upside down. We chase success thinking it will bring us happiness, but the research is clear. Happy people are more productive, they're more creative, more resilient, they attract more opportunities. So you see, we've been asking the wrong question all along. It has never been about what happens after you make it. The real question is this: will you unlock your true potential for success once you stop postponing happiness and just start cultivating it right now? Bartlett's final message is really a form of permission. It's permission to change your mind, permission to disappoint people, to be imperfect, and to prioritize yourself. You have permission to stop following a script that's making you miserable and start building the life you actually want, starting today.